Hello, today we're going to be looking at the upcoming week of weather. Today we have a chance for severe thunderstorms in the Florida Panhandle, and we'll be having some systems moving in this week. So this is the Weather Service page. There's not a lot going on, but we'll be having a lot more this upcoming week. So taking a look at the SPC, this is the current radar, and we have a severe thunderstorm watch for the Florida Panhandle. And here's the watch. Tornadoes, low chance, and then tornadoes very low, but there's chance for wind and hail, making those thunderstorms go severe. So we have moderate chance for severe wind, and then low for very high winds. Severe hail, moderate, and then very large hail, low. So taking a look at, we'll be looking at the severe threat later, but taking a look at the mesoscale discussion, increasing activity for thunderstorms as early as 1 to 2 p.m. before intensifying with daytime heating throughout the evening and afternoon. So hail and wind can make the thunderstorms go severe today. And then looking at the thunderstorm outlook, we have a 70% chance just offshore, going down to 40%. Then that will shift to Florida, and then move off coast by tonight. Alright, taking a look back at the page, look at convective outlook later, but day 1 fire risk we have for New Mexico and Texas, just elevated, like we've seen for a while, and then critical chance tomorrow for Nebraska and surrounding regions, as well as New Mexico and Texas. And then for day 3, we actually have no area, but day 4, Tuesday, we have day 5, we have an area for Texas and New Mexico again. And then for dry thunderstorms, or low relative humidity or wind, these are the outlined areas. Those could become fire risk in the future. Alright, and then so then looking at the models. Okay, so this is going to be the upcoming pattern. So it's relatively cool in the north, and then as you get to the Canadian border, in the Northeast and Great Lakes, it's cold, and in Washington and southern British Columbia, it's quite cool right now. We have a few systems going in right now, and we can see these thunderstorms popping up for parts of Idaho, isolated, and then some severe thunderstorms today for Florida. Quite warm, and especially in the southwest. Not going on, we see this move off, and then we have this minor system bringing just some rain for the northeast, and then a lot of rainfall going on, continuing for the northwest. For Oregon and Washington, we could see some heavy rainfall. And then we see this first severe system moving in. We have a weak low pressure system with a cold front trying to develop. But we have several systems like this, and we won't get the cold that's just going to be building up. So this system eventually dies out, and then we see this major system mid next week for severe weather moving all the way up the east coast and mid-Atlantic. And we see this next system bringing severe weather. But we won't be seeing that cold shot for the east until the end of the week and even the weekend. It's just going to be building up. So it's going to generally be warm and rainy for the east, mostly dry for the southwest, and then eventually we could probably get that cold air coming in. Looking at the GFS, we'll go to the typing for rain and frozen. We see minor snowstorm and rain for the northeast. The snow is not making it all the way to the coast because it's too warm. And then we see that first severe weather event. It looks pretty major right here. I wouldn't be surprised if we go up to an enhanced or moderate risk on several days. We already have 6 days of a slight risk in a row. So that shows confidence in this upcoming severe system. And then we see this first couple systems, and then this first system kind of dies out. And then we get this second wave. And then it moves off the coast, and then we get this one final cold front with cold temperatures behind it. And this could be very cold air for April. And we see an extreme ridge and an extreme trough for this time. But right before this, we see the ridge in the east before this cold front looked more impressive yesterday, but now it's starting to look a little bit weaker. But still, we could see some warmer temperatures before this system. Just looking at a few other models, we can see this severe thunderstorms today in Florida, some heavy rainfall at times, and then the icon model. We see this first system, and then the cold front, and then the very cold air, potentially, that's already 3 models showing. And this is really cold. We see some snow and rain for the higher elevations and in the Ohio Valley, and rain, potentially snow making it to the coast briefly. It's going to be very cold next weekend. It's going to be very cold next weekend, but I think the ridge will quickly return. And then, yeah, we see this cold front moving in the cold air. Looking at the mesoscale, so the HRRR, we see some snow for near the Chicago area, going into Michigan, and then the severe thunderstorms moving along to Florida. I don't think we're gonna have a very high tornado risk today, but something to really watch for is wind and isolated hail. But it's very dry in the southwest. And then looking at the NAM, goes much farther. We see this system in the Great Lakes move to the northeast, snow to the higher elevations, not to the coast, and just some rain. And then we see this next smaller system for the northern plains, bringing some snow and rain, and that'll set the stage for our next severe weather event. And you could see those reds and oranges popping up, showing heavy rainfall and thunderstorms, and then some snow in isolated spots for the higher elevations for the west and southwest. Continues to stay dry, and we could have fire risk in this area, especially in Nebraska and Mexico and Texas for the next week. Alright, it could be dry at times, and I expect very, very dry in air and maybe some windiness at times next weekend, as we see the cold front and very cold air. So I would not be surprised if we have a regional dry air and isolated wildfires. Looking at the RGEM, a little bit more long range, we see those pinks showing up, so that might be like more of a hail event, not just a tornado and wind event. We could see very heavy rainfall, so we could have flash flooding. I'm going to see those pinks popping up in Florida today. Doesn't look too bad, but we could see definitely an enhanced or moderate risk for the southeast again, looking like it's going to go over the same exact areas, which is very concerning. And then looking at one more model. For the north, we just see the snow around the Chicago area and slightly north. We could see a couple inches today. Alright, so looking at the total snowfall, so we a couple inches in the north. No snowstorms, we could see more in Canada, and then a lot of snow for the higher elevations in the Cascades and sometimes in the Rockies. looking at the European, it doesn't show it. And then looking at the total rainfall, total accumulated precip, we see quite a bit of rainfall over the coming days. And we see several inches in the east, very dry in the southwest, and then a lot of rain for Washington and Oregon. And behind those mountains, we see quite a little, quite less, and then maybe some rainfall going for the Rockies. But this shows we're getting into more of a spring-like pattern, and it will continue. Alright, taking a look at the Climate Prediction Center. The temperature forecast for days 6 to 10. It's going to be colder for the south, the deep south, after the severe weather event. Warmer for the southwest. Precipitation, it's actually going to be below average, but above average in the northern parts. And then days 8 to 14, we could see the ridge return, but from there we're not really sure exactly, but what we can tell is that it's going to be dry before another severe weather event. So this is looking like it'll set the stage again. So round after round for these thunderstorm outbreaks. And then weeks 3 to 4, it shows the ridge staying in the east, with warm temperatures continuing for the south. Looking at the Drought Monitor, this hasn't really changed. Just looking at our area. Let's zoom in on this. So we are actually in drought right now. Abnormally dry, so it's been quite dry. But I think these spring rains will come, and we can have some flash flooding through this spring. And then we see the drought getting worse in Texas, in western Texas, but it's getting better for the west. But that is definitely concerning, but good for some areas. Then temperatures for 1 month, we see this continuing, and 3 months we're getting into the very long range. For like the late spring to early summer, we see this pattern continuing. Alright, and then tropical hazards. Still not going into hurricane season yet, but we're still 2 months away, but that'll be upcoming soon. Alright, national forecast charts. We see mixed precipitation for the west, and rain, thunderstorms, and severe thunderstorms for the south. We see this first system moving in with mixed precipitation, and severe thunderstorms starting with critical fire weather possible in Nebraska. And on day 3, we could see heavy rain and severe thunderstorms in the south, with snow in the west and mixed precipitation. And then finally, the severe weather. We have a slight risk on day 1 with a small tornado chance, but more of a wind and hail threat, especially wind. We could have a regional event today. And then this first system moving in, we actually have a slight risk, quite a small area, but that could expand. Tornado is low, but wind and hail are possible. Still a small risk for thunderstorms, and sometimes being severe in Florida tomorrow. Then, as we get into the week, we have this first wave. We have a large slight risk, so I would not be surprised if we see an enhanced or moderate risk. Maybe not a moderate risk, but likely an enhanced risk, which is any severe. This isn't any severe. And then almost the same area, just slightly farther east. This isn't going to be moving too quickly, so we could be seeing some heavy rainfall for longer periods of time than we've been seeing, so flash flooding risk. And then day 5, another slight risk. We see it for the relatively same area, with the next system moving in right after this for the same areas. And then finally, we see this system finally moving out by Thursday with severe thunderstorms possible for North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Would not be surprised if this slight risk gets expanded in the future. We're so far out. This is day 6, so this is very concerning to be this far out and showing 6 slight risks in a row, and then day 8 and 9 potential too low, as we have that cold air, that cold blast moving into the east briefly. And then just quickly looking at the active radar right now, we see some special marine warnings and the severe thunderstorm warning for Florida. That will be continue to be moving on shore, and then it will the peak of these severe thunderstorms today will be in the afternoon, with the bulk of the system moving on and the daytime heating kicking in. We could see some severe thunderstorms as well for southern Louisiana and the panhandle of Florida. Some isolated storms. We already had some thunderstorms earlier in the day, so we could see a few more. Okay, that's going to be pretty much it. I just want to look at the flash flooding risk, and then that'll be it. Excessive rainfall. The farther out we go, the less likely they are to issue something, but for day 1, we have a slight risk for Florida for some heavy rainfall, flash flooding, and then with this system moving in tomorrow, we have some excessive rainfall possible for Texas and Oklahoma, and then on day 3 it expands into a slight risk from a marginal risk for a larger area in the south. And then day 4 and 5 we have day 4 we can see which is experimental, but we see a slight risk. So that's we're gonna definitely have to keep an eye on this for the coming days. Alright, stay tuned for more, and I'll see you guys soon. Thank you.